Great. So welcome everyone. Welcome to another one of our monthly HeartPowered Speaking community calls. And if you're not a member yet of our HeartPowered Global Nation, check that out. It's a Facebook community where you can connect with other amazing speakers, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, change makers from around the globe. Because I think, again, once we're sticking our heads and hearts together, we can really make a bigger impact together. So welcome everyone that is here on this session with us today. Well, some of you might not know me yet, so welcome to all the first timers among us. My name is Monique Bloxell, and I'm the founder of HeartPowered Business. And my mantra is speak up, scale up, impact the world in a greater way. And we have helped hundreds of clients from more than 50 countries to really go professional with their speaking and to double, triple, even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. Because you don't only want to be out there inspiring people, you also want to build a business around that and grow and scale your business to make a bigger impact in more people's lives. Well, I've been a paid speaker myself for more than 20 years. I've been on stages in more than 25 countries on 5 continents. And if you want to use speaking yourself to grow your business further, we always share that as a powerful tool, our Speak to Scale map with our top 50 ways of what you can do before, while you're on stage, and after to really grow your business, boost your network, turn your speaking into earning and everything else. So I know Desiree will share the link with you in the chat. So just grab that if you want to have some additional powerful best practices on how to use speaking to grow your business further. But this session is not at all about me. It's all about you and about our precious guest. And everyone that's been here before knows that these sessions are there for you to get practical hints and tips from our guest experts that you can apply right away for your speaking and your business. You can ask your own personal questions on how to make your speaking and your business flourish further. You're here together to exchange with other professional speakers and learn and connect with them. Also, if you have any high priority projects towards the end of our session, we'll open the space and you can get help and support also to share the word on your own projects and also simply have a break and have fun with us. We will make this session very interactive, so ask your questions anytime, either in the chat or, ideally in the chat when our guest speaker is sharing her wisdom. And also, we'll get back to them, and at the end, we'll also answer any open questions that you might still have. Also, mute yourselves when you're not speaking, because we want to have a sparkling recording, right? But when you want to speak up and we invite you to speak up, please don't be shy. I know you're a speaker, you're a powerful expert and star. Share with us your questions and we can connect and answer your questions directly. So every time we have a really powerful topic that serves you in the greatest way. And today we talk about how you reboot your brain and your body for top speaking performance. Because let's face it, right? Being out there as a speaker is quite demanding on our mind and our body. And when we are on stage, and when you are on stage delivering virtually, or you're in hybrid conferences, right? When you want to be a top performing speaker, you need to make sure that you're physically, mentally, and emotionally really fit and in good shape. And you really, only then can you captivate your audience, be authentically energetic, and have what our guest is calling presence of mind. And at times we want to be agile when things are not going as well as we want them on stage. And today I invited a really, really, really special friend of mine. Her name is Joni Peddie. She's a professional speaker. She's earned her CSP. She's living in South Africa, but she's working globally. And she will share her own personal experiences, best practices, and advice that she normally shares with executives and top speakers and entrepreneurs around the world. And in case you want to know who is Joni, let me introduce her to you. As I said, she is a professional speaker, a global speaker. She and I have just spent the last 2 weeks, and we just came back last weekend. We actually have been traveling, to Asia. We've been in Singapore. We've been in Kuala Lumpur. We even ran our own event there. We've been on 3 other stages while being there. And she is a rock star on stage, and she is really living what she's going to share with you today. And I became a beautiful I got really inspired by her, seeing her really living her talk. And she is an executive coach. She is partnering with Courageous Leadership Hub based in Australia. She's also belonged to the associate faculty at the Gibbs Business School in South Africa. She's a board member of the Global Speaker Federation. She's a network leader for 6 Seconds International, which is the largest EQ network in the world. She is a behavioral strategist, and her motto is, I love all things people. And she's fascinated by human behavior and how we shift our human behavior to serve in even greater ways. And she's really fascinated by how we choose to think, feel, and act. And we all face challenges and need to deal with change all the time. And the term bounce back is not appropriate. She's saying, we never ever bounce back. We need to learn to bounce forward, which has become a keyword and major message and movement on her side. We have to bounce forward in mental, physical, and emotional agility. And without further ado, Joni, I know we're so happy. We're so honored to have you with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to have you. Why don't you take over from here?
Great. Thank you, Monique. And I see the hands. Thank you, Danya. Lovely, lovely. Okay, let's have some fun together. Let's also look deep within the inside game of what you're going to get out of this session. So you've given up your time, you've got emails piling up, you've got other things on your to-do list, I'm sure, and you're sitting here on screen. So I'm going to start by saying that I'm going to offer you a REBOOT framework, and I've decided not to make it slides, but to make it conversational. I'm going to do a 6-part framework. I'm also going to offer to send you that framework with a whole lot of fun visuals at the back to remind you, and nothing for nothing. So let me start off by saying I've got 2 daughters. They are 23 and 25. And I was very sadly widowed when they were 7 years old and 9 years old. So I've been a single mom for the longest time. And what does that mean? It means that you are good cop and you are bad cop. And it also means that you have to, put the boundaries up, give some freedom. You've got no one necessarily to bounce these ideas off. The buck stops with you for payment, for advice, for values, for, getting them started in life. And what they still tease me about, and, from 7 and 9 years old to now 23 and 25, they're both working in their own careers, but they still tease me about bribing them. So I just say, sometimes I've got to nudge that behavior change and bribe you to do something different. And as long as we are open about it, then that is all fine. So I'm going to be open with you in the same way I am with my daughters, that I'm going to bribe you to email me afterwards to get this framework. But the email needs to be with specificity. You need to pledge to yourself, what are you going to commit to do within the next 24 hours? So what we do know is that you can listen to a speaker who, as Monique says, we've shared 2 fantastic weeks together. She saw me walk my talk, and I can share lots of examples with you. But if you don't do something with this information in 24 hours, you will lose 72% of the information. So use it or lose it. And if you want any other details, references, resources, when you email me with your specific behavior change, I will happily share many resources. So that's the pre-frame to getting going. Now, let's REBOOT is a framework that I came up with a couple of years ago, where I just really saw that people were really battling mentally. So you may have a whole lot of good ideas, but you are lacking energy. And this is the problem, is that to be resilient and to bounce forward, you need a whole lot of mental and emotional energy, not only physical energy. And Monique did say this at the start, but it's worth saying again that I have trademarked the term bounce forward, and my purpose on the planet is to enable everyone that I come into contact with, virtually or in real life, at workshops, at keynote talks, at conferences, conventions, to give them tools, practical tools to bounce forward. So in English, we've got this saying, bounce back. And I just think it's a stupid saying. After a change, let's just look at scenarios. You're working in a business and this business is acquired by this business. And of course, it's gobbled up and you're now in a different team with a different team leader. And that's a merger or an acquisition. You go through change. You have a car accident. It's, not pleasant and, hopefully you're not hurt. You lose a loved one like I did. You go through trauma. So it can be small scale change, big trauma, or perhaps you as a speaker or a business leader are looking at going global, becoming a global citizen. You're chasing an opportunity and you look to start your own movement. We are all looking to bounce forward. So through change, adversity, or chasing opportunities, we never, ever bounce back. So let's all have a look at how we can take what we know, take our experiences, our knocks in life, the adversity, the problems, the challenges that we've had, and use that for greater personal growth and transformation and bounce forward. So I want us all to bounce forward in different ways. And one of the frameworks I use is to reboot. So any guesses, quickly put in the chat with reboot, REBOOT. What do you think the first letter of my framework stands for? You might have seen it when I flashed this up, but let's see who gets it. What does the R in reboot stand for? Re-energize, Doug. It is a result of, and you will be refreshed, Michelle, re-energized, reassessed, Russell, resilient, Elizabeth. And all of those words would work. Rest, Sigrid, you've got it. Okay, give her a round of applause. Right. Rest it is. And if we really have a look at our brains, rest is what the brain needs daily. So if you had to jump off this call and you only listen to the first part of my 6-part framework, risk, Galia says, risk to be more energized. Rest is the primary thing you need to do per day. I'm only going to speak about sleep, but of course there's 7 other types of rest. We could do it on another call, Monique. But this brain of yours does not sleep. This brain of yours is hard at work at night when it's tucked under the duvet on the pillow and you're having a lulla, as we say in South Africa. So why do we need to know so much about the brain and what happens when we sleep? Is because we can replace many organs in our body. We can have a heart transplant, a lung transplant. Many organs can be replaced, but we cannot replace this organ between our ears. So this is the organ that you really have to deeply respect and look after. Here are some scary stats if you don't rest well. You will, this is not a maybe, this is not a possibly, this is not a genetic depend, this is a lifestyle factor. If you don't rest well every 24 hours, you will get Alzheimer's, dementia, and some form of cancer. And this is well researched by the neuroscientists. So again, in the chat box, how many hours are the minimum number of hours you need to rest? Put your brain and your head on the pillow and be in a deep sleep. How many hours? Good. Doug, Danya, exactly, Elizabeth. So the minimum number is not 6, Anita, it is 7. The minimum number of hours you need to rest per night is 7 hours. So if you're currently sleeping 6 hours and you think, I wake up feeling refreshed, I'm telling you from a neuroscience perspective that the buildup of toxin in the brain on a daily basis, which is called beta amyloid, is not being flushed out of your brain when your head is on your pillow. So buildups of toxin in your brain does what? You've got these neurons in your brain. These are the circles that I'm depicting with my hand. the neurons in your brain need to connect in what we call synapses. So if you create plaque between your neurons, then of course, that is the start of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and many other diseases. So you need to clear away this plaque each and every day. And that doesn't mean that you can work jolly hard during the week and then make up for lost sleep on the weekend. It's a bit like flossing your teeth. You get plaque buildup between your teeth. You get plaque buildup daily between your neurons. So it's an absolute must to clock up the 7 hours per day. So here are a few tips on getting a good night's sleep, because there are two parts to rest and sleep. One is the number of hours. You've got to honor your body and your brain detoxification process with 7 hours, but you also have to get deep stage 4 sleep. And to get deep stage 4 sleep, that is the stage where that beta amyloid toxin gets flushed out. You need to look at some lifestyle factors. So here are just a few, because I've got a keynote talk on sleep that's a 60-minute, a 90-minute, and even a full-day workshop on sleep. I've written a sleep online course if you wanted to get hold of that. It is my passion that people start to honor their sleep. For so many years, we have traded in our health for our wealth. We are chasing meetings, we are chasing money, and we trade in our sleep. Your habits today inform your biology tomorrow. So if you think I'm fine and I'm managing the next day and it's okay and I'll sleep, on the weekend, I'm telling you right now, don't call me in 3, 4, 5 years' time when your memory's starting to go and you're just suffering some kind of other health ailment. Sleep is crucial for our bodies. So here are just 3 tips on getting that deep stage 4 quality sleep where your brain flushes out the toxins. The first thing is if you like tea, coffee, or green tea, put your hands up. I love tea, coffee, and green tea. Russell, you not so sure? Okay, I absolutely love it. So here's the deal. You need to look at your circadian rhythm, what time you're going to go to sleep and what time you're going to wake up. Your body honors it if it's a regular go to sleep time and a regular wake up time. So my regular go to sleep time is at about 9 p.m. and I wake up at about 4:15 every morning. So I'm a runner and I run, and this morning I was out on the cold, dark Johannesburg roads at 5:10 with my friends, and I go to sleep by about 9 p.m. So caffeine, that's tea, coffee, and green tea, you need to stop that 8 hours before you go to bed. So I have a lifestyle rule that I can be out for a fabulous lunch with my friends, and I love coffee and cappuccino and good coffees, and I'll look at my watch and I'll go, oh my goodness, it is 1:30 or 2 p.m. and I will not have that coffee or tea or green tea. So it's imperative. Tea, any caffeine has an 8-hour half-life in your body. So even if you say, hey, Joni, you know what, I just fall asleep so easily and it's not a problem, I will tell you that you don't get stage 4 deep sleep if you've had caffeine within an 8-hour period of going to sleep. I said 3 tips. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is you want to stop looking at your computer, looking at your mobile phone, or watching TV for 60 to 90 minutes before you go to sleep. That blue light going into your brain will affect the production of melatonin in your brain. So again, you can say to me, Joni, I fall asleep quite easily. I'm on my computer looking at my presentation for the next day or replying to emails or designing something new. You have to have had no computer blue light going into your eyes. These things around here, I'll come up close. This is brain material, brain. And this brain material gets highly affected by blue light. It's the only part of your brain that protrudes through your skull. It does not, we are not designed to get that blue light at night before we go to sleep. When we lived in nature, we woke up when the sun rose, red light, and we went to sleep when the sun went down, red light. So that's tip number 2. I'm going to answer your question now about the glasses. Tip number 3 is you absolutely need to honor movement during the day. Now, I am going to get on to movement later in the second O, but a good night's sleep starts from the minute you wake up. So your lifestyle habits of exercise, of eating well, of stopping caffeine, of having, good, screen time, it's really important. And what the World Health Organization says is that you need to elevate your heart rate for 20 minutes per day. So if you do those 3 things, if you stop the caffeine, if you absolutely stop watching TV or being on your computer 60 to 90 minutes before bed, and you do 20 minutes of movement per day with a slightly higher heart rate, you will sleep better. So is it Darby, you're asking about wearing glasses that cancel blue light? Absolutely. That definitely does help. So I have got 2 sets, which both seem to be next to my bed. I normally have one in my office, but because I've been traveling, I've got it now next to my bed. Is that even if I'm walking around inside my house at night, the lights coming from your ceiling or, any other lamp will affect the blue light going into your eyes. So it's not only screens, but I actually wear mine at night walking around my house. So my behavioral trigger is that when the sun goes down and I go into my home, I will put my glasses on. Any other questions about rest? And specifically, I've focused on sleep before I go on to the E. Again, if you wanted to look at a sleep online course, I met with my lionotherapy physio yesterday, and we have traded each other. So she gives me free physio, and I have given her my sleep course. And it's just, she has battled to sleep. And she just was quite effervescent about the fact that watching that, going through the short module on the sleep course, were really very beneficial for her to really change her habits and her mindset. Any recommendations for blue light? Danya, in South Africa, we have a brand called Truly Blue, but if you Google, just look at the specifications. So this is what I recommend in South Africa, Truly Blue, but worldwide, there are lots of very good blue light glasses. For instance, as an example, if I'm flying between 2 cities, so I'll use a South African example. If I'm flying, I've been working in Cape Town and I'm flying back to Johannesburg, I will, and it's a late night flight, I will wear those blue light glasses. So it's really quite important, and then I know, I land in the airport and then I've got a half an hour travel home to my home, and I will have those blue light glasses so that when I come home, I do my evening rituals, have my shower, do my gratitude prayer in the shower. By the time I get into bed, my body and my brain is producing that melatonin, and I go into that deep sleep very, very quickly. Okay, anything I can still do after many years of not sleeping well, mostly less than 7 hours, Yana, is that there are many, many other tips. I think what you need to do is you need to get hold of me and see if you want to do that sleep online course. Alternatively, I did write a sleep ebook, and I'll send that to you for free. And it's titled, Are You in Sleep Debt? In fact, one of the financial magazines in South Africa published my whole ebook because it's aligned to money and sleep debt, and it's a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to move on, and because it's a big topic, I could even have a coaching session with you. It's a bit like saying, I suffer emotional anxiety. Joni, what do you suggest? I've got to take some context and see, what your lifestyle is all about and what would specifically work well for you to get more than 7 hours. Okay, so now I guess on the E in reboot, what would the E stand for? Type it in the chat box if you don't mind. If you want to have more energy and you want to live well, it's not exercise, It's not energy. The overarching reboot framework is all about energy. It's actually E for eat. So it's very, very simple. Doug, I like excellence. But if we think about having more energy and being brain sharp, we've really got to have a look at what are we putting into our mouths? What are we choosing to eat? Now, this is a huge topic as well. And of course, across cultures and across belief systems, etc., there's so many different eating modalities. So I'm only going to say a few things to you about eating. In fact, I'm going to say 3 things as well. The first thing is processed foods should be a no-no in your diet. Processed foods, again, lead to all sorts of inflammation in your body. And of course, inflammation kills brain cells and leads to dis-ease disease. So no processed foods. What you want to be doing is you want to be eating as close to nature as possible. So get rid of those processed foods. See, I actually challenge my family to have 6 different colors of food on their plate per day. So, in the morning, you may have egg on toast. That's, one color, yellow, white. At lunchtime, you may have a green salad. In the evening, you may choose to have a butternut, some cherry tomatoes, the protein of your choice. And then tonight, I've just picked out of my garden some fresh spinach. And I know that's similar to the green, but with that fresh spinach, I will also, slice some orange. It'll be another color of orange. So I just look at my day and go, okay, how can I get 6 different colors of food onto my plate throughout the day? So that's no processed food and have 6 colors. The second part of eat that we forget is that your brain requires liquid. Did you know that your brain shrinks overnight? It goes from a plump grape to a raisin. So you need to, as you wake up in the morning, you need to fuel your brain not with tea or coffee. You want to fuel your brain with water as you wake up. So eating is obviously covering liquid. And my very first drink for the day, a beautiful herbal tea. And I don't have caffeine the first thing as I wake up. So I have a cup of herbal tea and ginger or lemon if I'm at home, and then I will have a cup of coffee afterwards. So no processed food, the 6 colors, and then making sure that your first liquid intake is not caffeine. And then still on the topic of liquid, again in the chat, because it gets lonely just talking here, how much liquid should you have per day? How many glasses of water or a herbal tea should you have per day? 2 to 3 liters, Danya says. 2 liters, Anita. 2 to 3, I don't know what CL is, Pascal. 1 to 2 liters. So the answer is 1 250 ml glass of water or herbal tea for every 10 kilograms you weigh. So if you weigh 90 kilograms, you need 9 glasses. If you weigh 60 kilograms, you need 6 glasses. So I love the fact that in the mindfulness training that I do, so using a lot of emotional intelligence, is we still touch on eating and drinking, because we've really got to know our own ecosystem. And it's not 2 to 3 liters of water. In fact, you can overhydrate, where you are flushing out a lot of your minerals. So you've got to really know yourself, and clearly you've got to know what are the differences in the different seasons as well. So please make sure that you know how much you weigh, and then align your water intake or herbal tea intake with your kilograms that you weigh. As Socrates said, knowing thyself is the beginning of wisdom. So I'm going to leave the E for eat, and I'm going to go on to the B. And in reboot, any guesses what the B is? While I have a sip of my herbal tea, actually, it's not coffee. Balance, Doug. Doug, I like the fact that you fast on that chat box. That's excellent. It's not balance. It is breathing. Okay. So yes, of course, you all know how to breathe. I'm just going to type in the chat box. I absolutely love this breathing technique. And this is from Dr. Mercola. I might have spelled that wrong, so let me retype it. And it's a breathing technique I read about probably about 10 years ago. And it's Dr. Mercola's 478 breathing technique. And this is how it works. And I would invite all of us to do it. So let's sit up straight. Let's put our shoulders back and let's put our hands on our belly, if you don't mind. And let's breathe in for 4 counts through your nose. Hold your breath for 7 counts. And then breathe out loudly. All come off mute. All come off mute. I want to hear lots of breathing. Take yourself off mute if you don't mind. Let's have some fun. Right. And I want to, Elizabeth, you can take off mute. Tara, you can take off mute. Ashley, and take yourself off mute. Maggie, Sigrid, off mute. Okay, so let's do it together. We will only do 2 rounds. And then I'll tell you the different kind of scenarios where I use this 4-7-8 breathing throughout the day. So we're going to do 2 rounds. So I'm going to do it fairly fast. Let's breathe in through your nose for 4. Hold your breath for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I want to hear you breathe out through your mouth. Doug, you're the only person who breathes the loudest. Well done. Then again for 4. Expand that belly and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I want to hear. Breathe out loudly. Monique, you breathe out loudly. Well done. Okay, put yourself on mute. That's really good, everybody. So this breathing technique, when do I practically use it? There are some times during the day where I've had, a 4 o'clock start and I maybe sometimes a 1 a.m. start if I'm working with my colleagues in Brisbane. And I need a power nap during the day. And certainly Monique and I, when we arrived in Singapore, we desperately need a power nap because we were traveling across time zones. And I am vociferous about the sleep and brain research. There are only 2 time periods for a power nap. The first is a 20-minute power nap or a 90-minute power nap. So it's either 20 minutes or 90 minutes for power naps. And if I'm trying to power nap, I will literally do that 4-7-8 breathing. I will relax from the tip of my head down to my toes, give myself permission to just get into this deep sleep. And I have practiced power napping for decades now. And I literally dribble, I get a creased face, and I'll wake up looking like I've had a full night's sleep. So I use it for power napping. I will use it at times where I'm having that overwhelm sensation. And I stand up and I look down at my diary and I go, right, Joni, there's like 7 must-dos before the end of the day. I'm going to have to do 4-7-8 breathing a few times and then re-look at that to-do list and reprioritize my day. I use it when I'm in a meeting and I'm triggered with annoyance, irritation, or anger by someone in a meeting. And I think, right, I want to... some of you may know Monique's beautiful Voice for Love. I want to speak with a beautiful tone. Monique, if you haven't told them about it, I'm sure you will at some stage. And I will do my 4-7-8 breathing quietly. I won't go in the 8, but it will really get that amygdala hijack in my brain settled down, and I will be able to use a more loving tone in that meeting or in that scenario. So that's the breathing. I'm moving swiftly along. And I'm just watching the chat box here. Doug's saying, I'm a certified peer support specialist in mental health, and we use this breathing. Oh, great, Doug. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love this breathing. There's 2 O's in REBOOT, and the first is open your heart. And I give it to you without asking you to chat in the chat box. And I am a certified, as Monique said, emotional intelligence trainer and facilitator. These are the 8 competencies for emotional intelligence. as measured by the many 6 seconds assessments. Put your hands up if you've heard of 6 seconds worldwide. They're in 190 countries. Many of you have. So there's many ways to develop our emotional intelligence. You can't change your IQ, basically. You can't change the personality that you were born. I also facilitate the Enneagram, but you can change your EQ, your emotional quotient, or your emotional intelligence. And there's only one thing I'm going to tell you here on Open Your Heart, and that is what we know. There's obviously 1,600 things I could tell you, but the one thing that I love to tell people is that the neurochemicals that spark in your brain, the emotional neurochemicals that spark in your brain, only last for 6 seconds. And that's where that worldwide.org organization gets their name from, is that Candace Burt, as a neuroscientist, did all of that research. That emotional surge is for 6 seconds. You then decide to apply meaning to that emotion, and you then apply meaning, and you can get into an emotional state. And of course, that emotional state can then take you into an emotional mood. So if I can say to you that if you know the science behind the emotional neurochemicals in your brain, you can name your emotions to tame them. So start to build your literacy, your vocab around your emotions. And then secondly, I like to tell people about Open Your Heart is that motion shifts emotion. Another reason to exercise every day. If you want to use a magnificent tool, you can email me. It's a tool called the Plutchik Wheel. I've shared it with Monique as well. And there's a beautiful interactive tool where you can start to learn to name your emotions and to shift your emotions. So feel free to email me, or of course, I'll just actually put it in the chat box. You could just Google it if you want. Plutchik Wheel of Emotions. Okay, we're getting on to the second O, and then of course I'm going to open up for any question. And the second O is move. It's a bit of license there. So it's the, where is it here? The O is in the center there, move. And I've spoken a little bit about the fact that motion shifts emotion. If you move well, you're going to rest well. But I'd like to say those 20 minutes per day that I spoke about, the World Health Organization, is you do not have to go to a gym for 20 minutes or an hour. You do not have to go for a walk at the end of the day or the middle of the day for 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour. You can be clever about this. So who of you enjoys exercise? Put your hands up. Because some people do, oh, good. And some people don't. So I just want to show you something that's fun on my desk. And this is a cordless skipping rope. You can order these online. So what is it? There's the handle. There's the length of the skipping rope, which is kind of just like my forehead. And there's this weighted ball. So I have these on my desk because why? I take my mobile phone at the start of the day. I have a look at my meetings for the day. And I've been in meetings, I think my first meeting was 7:15 this morning, South African time. And I had quite a few meetings. And then I either get up and skip at my desk, or I have a mini trampoline outside my office on the veranda. I go and jump on my mini trampoline. I have a stationary bike. And on the days that I don't run, I absolutely make sure I get 20 minutes of 2-minute intervals per day. So that's fairly easy to take your diary and to go, okay, here, this is what my day, please don't judge me for that busy looking day, the 23rd today, but I take my diary and I go, right, when am I going to get those 2-minute intervals in? And you can easily plan for 10 of them before your day starts, during your day. And then that movement is getting fresh, oxygenated blood to your brain. You will think smarter. You will work harder. You will come up with innovative ideas to solve problems. It is very, very important to move your body during the day. Now, I've just said to you that when I don't run, I plan those 20 minutes. When I do run in the morning, like I did this morning, 10 kilometers, I left in the dark. I came home at 6:15 in the dark as well. It's jolly chilly in Johannesburg now. I still move during the day, but I might not need to add it up to 20 minutes. I might do 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 3 times, and do 9 minutes. What we know from brain science is that even if you exercise in the morning, your good cholesterol goes down by 40% if you don't move every 2 hours. So it's very, very important to move during the day. It's absolutely essential in terms of your energy, your mental, your emotional, your physical well-being. Okay, we're getting on to the last one here, which I'm going to give you as well, which is the time for fun. So reboot, the T is the time for fun. And I'm finding at the moment that in South Africa, and as Monique and I were in Singapore, there were 48 countries represented. A few South Africans on the call, and people who've read about South Africa, that we have a big electricity energy crisis. So we are, for sometimes 12 hours of the day, no electricity, which sometimes means there's no water. And the mental well-being in this country is at a terrible, terrible low. So I had, and I'm going to come back to time for fun, but I mentor someone, and I took him out yesterday afternoon for a caffeine-free, a decaffeinated cappuccino, because I won't allow him to have a cappuccino at 5 p.m. because it's caffeine. And I said to him, right, his name is Nico. I said, okay, Nico. I said, how's your business doing? What are you doing? He's in the creative industry. And I could just see his body language was like this, head in his hands, and he went from that side to that side. And I said, Nico, I've known you for many years, and I've never seen you with this kind of body language. You've got very low energy. Anyway, no, I have to work, and I'm doing this. And then I said, tell me your typical day. And his drive to work is very often from his suburb to his studio where he films. He said most days the traffic lights aren't working. So it's like, it's dodgem cars driving to work. And then he explained trying to run his studio and what's happening. And he just, by the end of it, he's just said, Joni, I'm now 55 and I'm at my lowest mental and emotional well-being of my life. And I started to think about it, and I spoke to people on my run this morning. So many people are battling with their mental well-being. So there are many external factors that we can't control. So we've got to look at what is within our control. So within our control is this time for fun. And I had a very deep, good belly laugh this weekend with my husband, because I got remarried 5 years ago, by the way, which is happy news. And my husband has forever said to us in the last 5 years, to my children and I, my children no longer live at home, but he keeps on saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So
Right, I'm sure Joni is going to be back very soon. So this is, yeah, okay. There you are. You're back.
Oh, did you lose me?
We lost you just for another 45 seconds or something. So you spoke,
okay.
so you spoke about, plan to fail and fail to plan. So go ahead from there.
Okay. So this whole this time for fun is not about your annual holiday. It's not about even going to a fancy restaurant. It's about saying, let's sit down with your significant other. And if you don't have a significant other, sit down with yourself.
Okay, while Joni is coming back, all of you, what we can do in the meantime, think about what is one question you would like to ask Joni so that at the end of our session, she can still answer a couple of your direct questions once you have the benefit of having her here. Right? How do you want to, reboot your energy, and what kind of questions are coming up for you? And you can put them into the chat while we're waiting for her to come back. Okay. So great question, Darby. I love that. How many repetitions for breathing exercise? Great. Okay, now she had to step out, but I'm sure she's back any moment with us. So any other questions?
That's very weird because we've my secretary and I are both in the same room, and we've both got Wi-Fi, so I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I'm back. Can you hear me?
You're back, and I'm gonna pin you again. Go ahead, take it from there.
So I said to my daughter, I said, right, I've just arrived back in South Africa after 2 weeks. Let's have some fun tonight. And she said, but aren't you tired? Aren't you jet lagged? And because I know how to manage my sleep very well, 10.5 hours flight from Singapore to Johannesburg, I slept for 8.5 hours on that flight. So that was really lovely. And that was in the back of the plane in economy class, squashed up. So that was really good. Anyway, the time for fun, as I said, let's go and watch the Nike Air movie. My eldest 25-year-old daughter is in marketing. And I said, let's go and watch the movie, a 5:00 movie, and then go for a quick dinner and to catch up. And then I'll be in bed by 8:30, latest. And it's planning those little slivers of time for fun, which is important. And my husband and I sit down every Sunday night and we look at that next bank of 7 days called a week. And we go, right, when are we going to put in some time for fun here? What are we doing? And it can be very simply, walking down the road to a restaurant. It can be, going to a movie. It can be saying, okay, let's play some chess this one night. Or what are you going to do that's time for fun? Or let's organize a picnic with all of our friends on a Sunday afternoon. So it's very important to absolutely splice and dice your life. Otherwise, I know me, I love my work. And really, if I didn't plan for fun, I would be behind my computer working 7 days a week because I do what I love and I love what I do. So we need to always kind of have a look at where is that time for fun. So that has taken us REBOOT. This is the framework. And my call to action is that you are going to email me one thing you're going to change. So I am a student of Professor B.J. Fogg from Stanford, who wrote the brilliant book, Tiny Habits. And he said, really, if we want to have sustainable behavior change, we need to change one thing at a time. So I just want to know the one thing that you're going to change and perhaps integrate and embed that as a lifestyle change within the next month. And then, of course, you're going to get this reboot framework with the graphics all at the back. And the graphics are going to remind you this time in June, maybe the 23rd of June, you're going to go, okay, I remember reboot from Joni. I want to change one other thing. So please don't overwhelm, don't overpromise yourself. If you overpromise yourself, you will disappoint yourself and you won't sustain the behavior change. So that's my offer to you. Plus, if you're battling with sleep, the sleep online course. Alternatively, if you don't want to invest in an online course, you may just want a sleep ebook. You can get that from me as well. And then on my website, I have got lots of blogs and some videos. I was not good while I was traveling because Monique and I were busy morning, noon, and every single night. But now that I'm back in South Africa, I write a LinkedIn article on a Monday at 5 p.m. I post Wednesday at 5 p.m. and Friday at 5 p.m. So it's the latest kind of thoughts on neuroscience or personal reflections. My last night's LinkedIn was my 5 top tips for when you're traveling, and then a bonus tip. So it's just kind of looking at how did I arrive back in South Africa full of energy and having a wonderful weekend with my family and starting this new week with an abundance of energy. So I'm all about being resilient and bouncing forward and making sure that you've got mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, and then the 4th dimension is a sense of purpose. So Monique, I'm going to open the floor to verbal questions now, not just written in the chat box. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? What resources are you looking for? What dynamics are you having to navigate with your own energy systems?
I love that, love that, love that. And I can already see some people said you're brilliant, Joni. I know you are brilliant, right? And let's open the room for some questions. I think there was one question earlier about how many repetitions of the breathing. I think there was one question around that. Can you answer that, Joni?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I always do 4 repetitions of the breathing. So together we only did 2, but I find 4 really centers me, and it gets the prefrontal cortex, the executive functioning of your brain, which is your problem solving, your decision making, integrated with the limbic system of your brain. So 4 rounds of the 4-7-8 breathing.
Right.
Elizabeth, you asked about my website. I'll type that in.
Oh, yes. I'll also take care of that. Is there anyone else? Just unmute yourself and just ask a question right away, okay? Well, Joni, I also had a question. You said no tea and coffee and caffeine. What about herbal tea in the afternoon or evening? Would that be okay?
Perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Good.
It's the caffeine that's the sleep disruptor. Herbal teas are absolutely perfect. But make sure that you don't, I've been caught out before where someone's made me a herbal tea and it's been like a beautiful peppermint and green tea. And, you know, that green tea has got high caffeine. So make sure that it's a herbal tea that doesn't have green tea in it.
Right, wonderful. I'm sure there's a lot of other questions everyone has, right?
Darby, I saw you have a hand up. Yes.
Yay.
Yes, you cited something a couple minutes earlier. BJ, you cited
Fog. Yes.
BJ.
He is brilliant. And I'm going to type it in the chat box for you. So he wrote the book Tiny Habits. And he also, many years ago, I went on his course, his Stanford course, and I was able to do that online, actually. And I shared my book. I wrote a book as well on resilience, and he hadn't yet written his book. He is a professor of behavior change. So he's a behavioral scientist, and I would like to say that I think he's one of the top behavioral scientists in the world. He's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, these look like all kind of daily hygiene maintenance factors for energy. But Joni, when you're feeling stressed, when you're under pressure, when you've got deadlines, what is your go-to tool?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, Russell. I'm only teasing.
No, but I knew that already about
you. That's Russell Malela. I didn't know it's Russell Malela. He's choosing to come on incognito. When I'm stressed, I can say categorically it's the motion shifts emotion. So I've got this rebounder on my veranda in my office. I will go and I will pound that rebounder like nothing on earth. And it gets me, you know, that hectic breathing. It floods my brain with oxygen. And very often, if I'm really annoyed, if I'm really on that kind of like fighting mad state, is I will play loud music at the same time. So I music shifts state. In fact, I've got a funny story on that. So when my daughter was living at home, my eldest, Kayla, her bedroom faces my office and the veranda that wraps around my office. And she had her boyfriend staying over. And I had just done a course. Well, I was facilitating for a company in Brisbane. So it was a jolly 1 a.m. start. And 5 a.m. we had a break. 4 hours later, it was their lunchtime. And so it was 5 a.m. and I was quite irritated by something. And it wasn't anything anyone had done. I mean, sometimes we are most judgmental towards ourselves, but I'd made a big faux pas. So I put music on and I started rebounding on my rebounder. And I just saw that window open like, Mom, did you know, and it was summer, so it was light, do you know it's 5 a.m. and you're singing and you're rebounding and you're screeching, and like it's not a pleasant way to start my day. And I'm like, oopsie doopsie, I shouldn't be doing that. But that's a long-winded answer, Russell, is that motion gets me shifted straight away, and music gets me shifted straight away in terms of self-management.
Thank you.
Great question. Any other questions? I'm sure there's many.
And actually, while I'm on the motion, if any of you want to email me, there's the latest neuroscience article that I read actually while we were in Malaysia, Monique, was all about the importance of exercise on the brain. And it's a very good short article. So it's a good read. If anyone's really interested in this, Russell, I know you exercise daily, so you're absolutely perfect with that. But, you know, so many people go like, I don't have time to exercise. And it absolutely should be a priority. I'll tell a little war story here. And it's one of my favorite war stories, is my late husband's father will be 94 on the 9th of November this year. And as a 94-year-old, wait for it, he still teaches aqua aerobics. He lives in a retirement village in Hillcrest, Natal, and it's a for over 50s retirement village. And I say, you well over 50. And why I just love the fact that here is this wonderful man still teaching aqua aerobics is because he's as sharp as anything. When he comes to stay with me in Johannesburg, I take him into studio, I film him, because he is the walking, talking epitome of resilience. He has sense of purpose. He has lost 2 children, which is incredibly sad. I can't imagine how traumatic that is to lose 2 of your 4 children. So emotionally, he's managed to navigate that loss. Mentally, he is incredibly sharp. If I am staying with him in Hillcrest, Natal, and I'm doing an online talk, as I often do for many of the banks that I work with, sometimes it's, there's something that goes wrong. I've got one bank that uses a platform called Blue Jeans. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard of Blue Jeans, but Blue Jeans and my Apple Mac don't really like each other very much. And I can get a little frazzled trying to get everything to talk to each other. And here is this 93-year-old going, okay, Joni, I can help you with the technology. And I go, really? And he goes, really? So if you just think about motion and you think about the importance for your brain, when we lived in nature, we were walking 12 to 18 kilometers per day. The ecosystem of the body is designed to be in motion. So, I know he's a sample of one. But many of the people that I've spoken to in their late 80s who are mentally got all their faculties about them are people that honor and prioritize movement as part of their daily life, 7 days a week.
So, Joni.
Yes, Russell.
And I just endorse what you're saying on movement, because Peter Attia has written a book called Outlive. And the data is irrevocable in terms of exercise and reducing the effects of Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. And that's, I mean, he's a Harvard professor, and it's in the data. It's irrevocable.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Russell, won't you type that in the chat box as well, please? Yeah.
Sure.
And it's irrevocable. So, when you look at the neuroscience, we can grow 700 new brain cells per day. And I just always find that fascinating. I really do, because you can get smarter as you get older. But those 700 new brain cells, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, they've got to connect. The synapses have to talk to one another. And you only get those connections when you do 3 things daily. You eat well, no processed food, 6 colors per day. You move well, and you sleep well. The brain honors those 3 things: eating well, moving well, and sleeping well. So it's, we've got to really look after, this is the conductor of the entire ecosystem. So what are you doing to look after your brain? These are, as Martina Navratilova said, the game of life is played in the 6 inches between your ears. I actually think it really is, whether you're going to reframe a problem, whether you're going to look at an opportunity. It's all about your mindset, your attitude, your emotional reframing, which happens up here, not in your heart. And it's about clearing out the toxins in your brain, which happens when you sleep well, eat well, and move well. So yes, Russell's written in there, Peter Attia, outlive, great.
And Joni, also, as we are all here together connecting, I have a final question for you, if no one else has a question for you. But I would also invite everyone here, because I know we are also here to connect and exchange with each other. So if you have anything that you would like everyone to know about, put it into the chat. If you want to connect more with other speakers and experts, you can put your LinkedIn, link into the chat so people can connect with you directly. Joni, maybe it's something that we could do for you as well. If anyone wants to connect with you on LinkedIn, I put mine here. I'm going to give you a question, and I put up your LinkedIn link, Joni, and I put it for everyone into the chat as well so they can connect with you directly. Okay. But I also have a question for you, Joni. Maybe it would be good for us to round off the conversation this way, because we have a lot of speakers here, right? And we spoke about rebooting our energy. And, also, especially when we step onto a stage, we need to master our energy in a great way, right? So what are things you do? And I've seen you rock so many stages in Asia, and you and I shared so many stages together with so much fun and honor and pleasure. And what do you do to really master your energy before you step onto a stage? Because some people have too much, some people have too little. Well, what do you do?
Yep. Definitely that 4-7-8 breathing, the Dr. McCullough breathing is my go-to. So as I'm getting mic'd up and I'm standing, at the side waiting while the MC introduces me, all I'm doing is my 4-7-8 breathing, 4-7-8 breathing. So I'm blocking out, you've got to be just a well-oiled machine when you're standing on stage, as you know. So that's my, I leapfrog from that 4-7-8 energy. And then what I've always tried to do is I love to be not the first speaker of the day, but the mid-morning speaker. So if I am planning, if I've got a say in the agenda, it's before lunch. And then I've had time before the convention starts and at tea time to really get to know some people. So as you said at the start, Monique, I'm a behavioral strategist. I love all things people. So there'll always be something I learn in having a chat to people. And then I'll sneak some of those little things in, especially when you're working in countries that have different cultures. So I'll try and sneak something in, and that, you get that feeling of rapport, even if you're standing on stage talking to many, there's that one person there, Sylvia, that you spoke to, and you've got that little rapport going. And of course, that is the reciprocity of energy, because Sylvia's eyes light up because, she's like, had her name mentioned, or there's some little anecdote only her and I have shared. And then, you get her, that energy coming back. You might have remembered that in Singapore, when we did the Toastmasters event together, so in Singapore, at that event, I don't know how many people there were, 100 and something. And at the tea break, I learned that there was a lady there who had immigrated from Hungary, and I told my Hungary story. So it's just lovely to people buy from people. People's energies integrate with other people's energies. So it's the human nature is what connects us all. Long-winded answer, but that's what I do.
Love it, love it, love it. Joni, okay, I'm just jumping in here, and thank you. Great suggestion. I saw you putting all the things that you talk about here into action. And I love how you really, you really pay attention to every element of the reboot formula as we were together. And I thought like, oh my God, this woman is such a powerhouse. So I definitely got inspired. So all of you, I hope you picked up a lot of hints and tips from Joni on how to reboot. Okay. I would highly recommend check out her website, connect with her on LinkedIn. I have a conversation with her. She's an amazing speaker. If you want to bring her into your business to give a session on how to reboot people's energy, she's a powerhouse. And you're here, Joni, I should speak to you, not about you, right? Okay. but I'm the greatest fan, and I really thank you for being on today with us. And you were even weaving little tiny interruptions into the conversation just to demonstrate how we deal with those energetically. It was powerful. Thank you. And yeah, do you want to round it off our conversation, at the end of it with a final inspirational message? And all of you also get in touch with her. Make sure you get a reboot formula. Just confirm what is the 1 out of 6 steps to take and actions to take. Okay, knowing that Joni is a behavioral strategist, you're right. We always want to not only inspire everyone, Joni, that's also something you and I have in common, besides many other things. We also love all of you to take action on what you're taking away from today. So drop an email to Joni, let her know what you're going to do and take action on that. And Joni, final inspirational message to round off our powerful conversation today.
The final sentence is that life deals you a deck of cards, not always great cards, but we are all able to bounce forward. So take this energy, take the reboot framework, and please, let's all just bounce forward.
Yay, love it, love it, love it, everyone. Okay, you're all ready and equipped more to bounce forward from here. Yes. Joni, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you all, everyone, for being with us. Quite a few of you are with us regularly. Some of you are first timers. Josephine, you and I haven't seen each other for a long time, but some of you, right, I meet for the first time. It's wonderful, always great to meet old friends and make new ones, also online. So thank you all for being here. Take action, start embracing the reboot formula, and share with us and stay in touch and let us know how you're using it and how it helps you to master your energy in the greatest way, to stay fit, mentally, physically, emotionally, and in so many ways, so that you have all the energy you need to rock the stage as speakers, to rock the business as the change makers that you are. And we're going to be back next month with another South African expert. We have a South African round right now, so much South African genius. You're going to be back in June with another session, so you will all receive an email on that. If you didn't get an email yet from us, you have here my LinkedIn connection. Please connect so we can keep you updated on future sessions as well. But for now, Joni, just again, thank you. And all of you, go out there, create your magic, speak up, scale up, impact the world in your own powerful way. And we'll be back soon. All the best for now. Cheers.
Thanks, everybody. Go well.